Boa noite a todos. E mais uma vez, nossa terceira palestra hoje. Tonight is our third discussion with our directors from Amazonia, the Awakening of Forestry. It is an incredible pleasure and honor to have with us Christiane Torloni. She's an actress. She has done 27 soap operas and 14 films, I understand. And she's also a director. This is her first film, if I understand correctly. But besides being an incredible actress that everyone knows in Brazil, she's also a political activist. Christiane became involved in the cause of we call it Diretas Já, or directives right now. It was a civil movement that claiming the direct presidential elections in Brazil after the military dictatorship in 83, 84. And as an environmentalist, which she also is, she led the Amazônia para Sempre, or Amazonia Forever movement, which collected actually more than 1 million signatures against the devastation of the Amazon forest. It's an incredible work that she has been doing. Currently, she serves on the board of the FAS, which is the Sustainable Amazonia Foundation. It is an enormous pleasure for us to have Christiane with us. We also have with us Miguel Przewodovski. Miguel, desculpe se eu não disse correct. Przewodovski. He is also a director on this film, and he's a journalist. He's a director and writer of scripts for television, movies, and theater. He ventured into the experimental videos back in the 80s, I think, and made documentaries, feature films, series, video clips, music, and journalistic TV programs. So it is wonderful that you could join us also, Miguel. And we also have with us Rogério Martins, who is going to assist, if necessary, with some of the translations. Sometimes we need that. So we would like very much to welcome you to Rogério. And we also have as our moderator for this discussion, Bruno Tavares, who is our film critic. Bruno has a master's degree in digital marketing, and since 2010, he has conducted academic research focused on the relations between cinema, television, and the news media. Currently, Bruno is content editor and film critic at the CinemaScope. It's a website. He has covered cultural events such as the São Paulo International Film Festival, the Curitiba International Film Festival, and the Paraty International Literary Festival. Bruno has been with us. We know him very well here in Chicago because last year I invited him to come and accompany us on our discussions here we go to from university to university when we do a presential mostra, and we go to many, many places. And I usually bring a film critic from Brazil so that they can help with the discussion. And Bruno accompanied us, and everybody loved him. You are going to love him too. So it is really a pleasure to have all of you here with us on this discussion of the Amazonia, o Despertar da Florestânia, or Amazonia, the Awakening of Florestânia. Thank you, Bruno. It's all yours now.
First of all, I would like to thank you, Ariane, and the organization of Mostras. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be here again and to do an incredible work that is talk about Brazilian film, Brazilian cinema, that is such a rich cinema that it must be better well known, not only in the United States, but also in the whole world, because the stories that we told, even if it's a fiction feature or a documentary feature, are universal. So it's an honor to be here. And I would like to welcome Christiane and Miguel and say that I'm a huge fan of the work that both of you conducted. And it's a pleasure and an honor to talk with you guys tonight about such an important movie and such an important and urgent theme that is the Amazonian rainforest preservation and protection. As we discussed earlier, the movie presents an interesting term that is forestry, or florestania in Portuguese. And when I saw the explanation in the movie, instantly I believed that it was correctly, that it was a term that I never heard of, but I felt it within, that it was correctly with the truth of us as Brazilian people, that people that came from this forest, that came from this deeply connection with the environment. So, Christiane, Miguel, I would like to welcome you guys. And first, to ask you, how do you first came up, got contact with this concept of florestania or forestry? And for the first time, how was for you guys to hear this concept?
Hello, good night for everyone here. It's really an honor, Ariane, to put my feet in this festival for the first time. I hope we have a very nice and bright discussion. Well, the first time I heard Florestania was in the 2006 when I was shooting in the state of Acre. You know, we were shooting to the Globus Studio. That's a huge network in Brazil. And it was a series named Amazonia from Galvez to Chico Mendes. It's the explanation how the state was born, let's say. And it was amazing because this moment, this event changed my life. As you said before, Ariane, in the beginning of the 80s, I did work hardly for the coming back of our democracy and for the director Ja. And in the 20s, I was called again, let's say, to come back to the fight when I heard this concept. Because, you know, florestania, it's a neologism, you know, Bruno. It's a word that has no translation, like saudade. You know, our friends, Brazilian friends or Portuguese friends that are from the Lusophone, our community of the 9 countries that speak Portuguese in the world, they understand what I'm saying. You know, saudade has no translation, and florestania neither. You know, forestry, it's another thing. It's kind of a method, you know, that you trace the wood, the trees, and then you make a method to preserve them. Floristania, it's a cultural code. You know, it's something that comes from a very traditional knowledge, from the traditional people of the forest. It's a kind of a set of rules, of rights and duties of the forest, of the living forest, means everything that's alive over there, you know, the people, the animals, the woods, the river, even the rain, you know. So that makes the whole difference, you know, because it's a culture code, like citizenship, you know, that for us makes all the sense. But I would say that people that has Floristania in their hearts and in their behavior know more than us about the citizenship, you know. Is it clear?
Yeah, yes.
I'm glad you asked that because I was going to ask it too.
Yes, and it's interesting because the term Floristania and the meaning that are the people that are deeply connected, that there isn't an obvious translation, but the people that is deeply connected with the environment and with the forest, it's a kind of communion with some concepts that Ailton Krenak brings in his book, Ideas to Postpone the End of the World, where he said that we humans tend to set us apart from nature, but in fact, we are part of nature. And over the years and over the centuries, we are taught that this kind of behavior is acceptable and encouraged to be like us humans as a species are different from the nature. But this kind of concept like Floristania, it's very close to this idea that Krenak brings in his book, because he said that we are part of nature. We are not apart from them, we are part of it. So it's very interesting. And when I saw it, and we said that in the movies, when you guys brings this term and said that we as humans were like sons of concrete, we were taught to be a part of nature, but with forestry or Floristania, we have to remember where we came from. Miguel, if you have any opinions or any ideas to add for this question, feel free.
I will bring hype. First of all, good night, and I'd like to thank the festival and congratulate also this event that's so important for us. Yeah, they're producing here so many films, have been producing so many films in Brazil, and they must come to a larger auditions. And for us, it's very important. And I would like to also to thanks for the invitation. And I think Christiane brought exactly the idea of Floristania, and I will just put something else. That's when we started this film. Yeah, I would like to remember this. Christiane came to me with some images, yeah, that she had already done since a long time, since this moment that he had been involved with the serial, the TV serial. He started this link with the forest and start also producing some images. And we are friends since a long time, and close friends. And he brought me some those images and to see. And I said to her, "Are you doing the film?" And she said, "Am I?" I said, "Yes, you have just started a film. So which film?" And then we started thinking which film would be this film. And the first name that we brought to the film that was sort of a guide for us was Amazonia, from citizenship to Floristania. And so this idea was for us an idea that guides us, yeah, in the way of watching how we can, we need this way back, as you said, but front, as we know, yeah, that to understand how much we belong to this, to the nature, and how much we are apart from it, and how much we have as a citizenship, yeah? And the cities develop the idea of belonging, and how much we are apart from this idea when we watch the nature. And so I think this was a guide for us, you know, to bring, to make this parallel, this way, not this way that we are cruising, that we need to, yeah. And this way that also link us for, not only for a local thing, but to think the planet and our story as a global story. It's not to be to think about the florestalia. I think it's also to think about belonging from this global thing. That's not only that's there is other complements from the citizenship.
Yeah, yeah, of course, this term it's very interesting. And I would like to say to our audience that you guys are free to send questions to our directors that are talking with us, with tonight, sorry. And feel free to ask any doubts, to send us any doubts or any ideas that you had or during the view of this movie. Going to our next question, in face of our recent environmental events occurred here in Brazil, especially the wildfires in Amazonia and Pantanal, and also the endangering of the mangrove areas, your film gains a new importance and become an educational tool. And how do you guys see the worsening of the environmental situation, and what can we do to help preserve the rainforest, not only the rainforest, but all the biomes that are essential to keep us living in this planet? I see that the movie that you guys made really call us for action. It calls us not to just stand in our sofas and tweeting about it and like having social media points and fights. This is important, but we also have to do something practical. We also have to do something that it's physical. We have to, because the forest is physical, it's not digital. So as we discussed before, it's very interesting because the documentary has an educational point of view, and I would like you guys to talk a little about these actions that we can make parting from this movie to help the Amazonia's protection.
You know, Bruno, this is a huge question. It's quite
a $1 million question.
Idea of the movie, but you know, we have this passion, you know, about education. You know, this is why we have so many, you know, teachers, anthropologists, philosophers. Why we did give voice to them? Why? Because I do believe completely in education. And so one of the, you know, tragic of this moment of the pandemic is that all our exhibitions in the universities and the schools, they are all postponed, I hope, to the next year, because it was amazing, you know, to see the exhibitions in the universities and to let them be touched, you know, to see the awakening of the seed of Florestania in their hearts. Because, you know, I think that the movie was, it was done with all this passion, in the two sense of the passion, you know, because there's when I shoot Amazonia from Galvez to Chico Mendes, this was the point, you know, I've been traveling to Amazonia, you know, since the 80s. And I was, you know, it was easy to see that green sea. And when it started to change, when we start seeing, you know, all this soccer fields, you know, empty spaces, it's already shocking. But when we shoot there in 2006, it broke my heart completely. So the movie, it starts, has its genesis in a pain. My heart was completely broken, you know. I saw something like, you know, the Franz Kafka's sculptures, you know, the burned forest. And I would like to put together these two things, you know, because I do believe they work together. My life, my work in this, you know, it's a journey of 45 years already. And it was, you know, I have this guiding light. It's my passion. It's the way I would have to walk in this path. And I understand that when I was invited to see the devastation, it was a calling for me. And in the same purpose was put on the film. Through this beautiful bridge, this knowledge, the science, we can achieve ways to take an action. So the same thing you just said, we have to do something. It was something that I felt in that moment. Three friends of mine, Juca de Oliveira, it's a great actor, Brazilian actor and dramaturg, and Vitor Fazano, it's a beautiful actor, activist, a fighter for the last 30 years. We were completely broken, shooting something, a fiction. And then we understood that we have to take an action, and we start making the manifest, Amazonia para sempre, Amazonia forever. And in this moment, when we think that we start thinking the movie in 2012, so now we have 80 years, no? But the film was launched last year, so we have 7 years of, you know, of a very, very difficult moment, because we are seeing things get worse. So when we know in this moment that in the Pantanal, we have the worst dry season of the last 47 years, we have lost already 23% of the biome. We have, this means something about 23 cities of São Paulo. You know, it's 3.5 million acres, you know, 3.5 soccer fields. And in Amazonia, now we have 29,000 wildfires. This is the second worst number in the last 10 years. All this tragedy, we will have, you know, this climate change completely affected with this. So the film was urgent 7 years ago, but now it's more than urgent. So I think that something like this that we are talking here and trying to, you know, touch people's heart is something that we do need in this moment to do. It's a mission, because we understand the same way I did need 1,200,000 signatures, you know, to make a manifest, you know. We will need millions of people crying to protect the Amazon. So we need everyone. It's like the vote, the Biden elections. Every vote counts. Every person counts in this moment. This is it. So education is a tool, but action is the second one. We are like an army, and you know, we have to be soldiers of the rainforest. This is what the movie asks to.
I just want to say something because when I first heard on the news about the fires in the Pantanal, I have been at the Pantanal and Amazonia too, but I was already devastated with all these fires in the Amazon, and when I saw that on the Pantanal, I cried. I could not stop crying because I said, what is going to happen to all those araras, to all that nature that is there, to all the animals? There is something we have to do. And we already had chosen this film, and I said, this film is really appropriate for our MOSTRA. Hopefully so many people will listen to it and see it, because I think what you two have done is just an unbelievable work. And the more people that hear about it, the better, you know, we can convey the story of what really is happening. And there has to be something we have to do. I think you, in one of the interviews that I read from, that you had, can't remember right now because I read so many of them, but who was the interviewer? You mentioned a few organizations on the, you know, that are connected to the Amazon, and maybe I would like you to mention them again here, because I'm ready to do something, and I hope other people will be too. And but if you give us some names so that we would.
Yes, of course I will. You talk already about FAS, F-A-S, Foundation Sustainable Amazon. It's very important to navigate in their site, because we have been doing a beautiful work from the last 12 years in the state of Amazon and abroad, from the whole Amazonian state. There are 9 states. And in this moment of the pandemic, we are leading 97 entities to make all the rescue come to remote places. So FAS, Foundation Sustainable Amazon, it's a very special place to be visited. You know, people can just, you know, you can choose which one you want to work in. You have, in the States, you have SPA, is Science Panel for the Amazon. It's a very, very important entity because they have more than 100 scientists working out with all this climate change. And we are quite 20 or 30 people from the civil community, workers, celebrities, actors, players of football, and we are working in the SPA too. And I'm ambassador of the SOS Pantanal too. So I think in our site, www.Florestania Amazonia, you have a window that you can choose, you know, an action. You can say, oh, I'll take care of the trees. Oh, I want to take off the rivers. People can choose to do something. So I would say FAS, F-A-S, SPA, and SOS Pantanal for in this moment, you know.
About this this educational point that you asked, I think that was something that we would we as Christiane said, we get this first intention of taking the people, making the people stand up and do something. I think that was the first point of us not making a film that really would be only denouncing, you know, everything, because I think it's absolutely necessary. But I mean, Amazonia, it's a very vast universe, and we would need another kind, many films to say everything that has been happening in Amazonia and with the nature in Brazil. And what we just understand here living in Brazil is that many people feel that Amazonia is something very far away, although we are brought up knowing the richness, how rich is the nature in Brazil. It seems that Amazonia and Pantanal, for many people, it's very far away. And what we want to bring is together with the information, it's also this feeling of the importance that the nature had for the country and for us, for our grown up, like as people, yeah, as a people that are formed from different cultural group, yeah, with more than 150 Indians groups and almost 2,000 different language, and we are all very far away from all that in the cities in Brazil. It seems that's a very like another country, and we wanted to bring in this call this information that how many people have been involved with this since the beginning of the 20th century. Yeah, that we bring Rondon and we bring Darcy Ribeiro, the Irmãos Vilas Boas, and we bring all the Chico Mendes, yeah, because we just feel that those are people that must be remembered, yeah, and must be remembered in this moment even much more when we have, for example, our environment ministers that say that do not know Chico Mendes, yeah. So I think we are in a special moment where we have to call all those people that have been fighting for that it's so important in our grown as a society, and also bring more close to the people the information that what can make Brazil a different country. It's this richness that's not only in the nature, but it's also in the culture of the people, of those people that were here before the Portuguese arrived in Brazil, much before, yeah, and that we in the schools we only usually start talking about our history from the 15th century to nowadays, and our history has started before, yeah, and it's very rich. So I think that's also one point that we would like to bring in the film, that that this call is a call from this meeting that we have to have as Brazilians with our richness.
It's very interesting what you said, Miguel, because at certain point in the movie, we had a character saying that in the library of a small city, in a small school, they had all of these books about literature and Europe culture and universal thinkers and philosophers, and this is important, but they had nothing about Amazonia way of life, Amazonia way of living. And as Ariane said, saw the news and cried. I cried several times watching your movies because I connected deeply with the message that you were trying to pass, because this is urgent. And this isn't as I said, I believe that your movie, it's a kind of wake-up call that we have, that we should have wake up several years ago and start doing something, because we have movies in Brazilian history like Iracema And we already saw, like in the 70s, that the wildfires were a question, and we are setting, and when I say we are setting the forest on fire, it's because when we do nothing, we are indirectly putting fire on the forest. So we are setting the forest and our biomes on fire for almost 50 years or even more. And if we look in the globe, in the map, we can see that the same areas that are similar here in Brazil, in Africa, or in Australia, they don't have a rainforest and they are great deserts. So this is a kind of future if we don't look for the treasure that we were given. And this is why I believe the message of the film is so important. One of the messages, right? We have here several questions from our audience. Some of them you guys already answered, like Sarah's question, as she said, as Brazilians, we grow up hearing about the Amazon and the need to protect it. And what point did you realize the severity of the situation and decide to take a more active role in this protection? I believe the questions like this, or what we can do to help, you guys already answered. Because I asked Luana to put on the discussion group the hyperlinks that you said from the website and the initiatives that you guys already told us about. And if you guys are anxious, or the people that are watching us, if you're anxious to participate, please see the hyperlinks that we send in the discussion and access especially the links listed on the film website, because there you can see other initiatives that you guys can know a little bit more about, and then takes action. But there is an interesting question here for you guys. It came from Evelyn. I will mix up similar questions. Evelyn's asked, how do you guys think the victory of Biden can change that? I mean, can positively change the way of the world that sees the forest? And also, Gels asked, complementing the Evelyn question about Biden's speech recently related to Amazon. He asked in Portuguese first. Será que não tem como nós jovens e novos ativistas fazermos mais para que não haja uma intervenção de outro país em nosso patrimônio? And in English, maybe we as young people, there is a way for us to be more active, to prevent the intervention of the foreign country in a national patrimony, like as we see Amazon. This is some points that our audience are bringing us. I would like for you guys to talk about that.
Miguel, would you like to start?
Sorry, Miguel, I think your audio is off. Can you
Sorry.
turn it on? Okay.
Indeed, I don't see very much as an intervention in the Amazon, an international intervention, exactly. But I see a world that's very worried with a problem that belongs to all of us, not only to Brazil, and that we should have at least the responsibility to take care of this important nature richness that we got it here. And we are not, at this moment, unfortunately, we have a lot of, the ambientalists are seen like thieves, for example. Yeah, there are lots of people being killed, for example, because of the country, this war for the earth, yeah, that's being burned, and then after it's been burned, something that we have to say that belongs to all us Brazilians. Yeah, much of the time, this forest that at the first moment do not have an owner. The owner is us, the Brazilians. Yeah, and so this process of burning the forest and making it private, illegally private, and not, for example, making we do not have straws. I think straws. People, they are not being punished for that, for example, and so it's a very complicated problem. I think we have to get rid of all kind of force, yeah, just to protect the forest. I think this is very important. I don't see it as an intervention. I see that's a way of telling the things that makes not we move to any place, because if the Brazilian government, yeah, is not taking the care of it, I don't see how we can. Why not? We do not have to get rid international and all over force. Of course, knowing that the Amazon is Brazilian and will be Brazilian ever, belongs to Brazil in all ways. But I mean, I think it's an international important movement, and I think the way the people can also help, it's watching, not stopping to buy, for example, Brazilian products from Amazonia, but watch where the product is coming from. It's coming from a legal way, yeah. It's not coming from illegal wood, for example, or the meat is coming from producers that did illegal practice, yeah, to obtain the meat. I think this is important. Us as consumers, as we consume the things, as we buy things, we know where they are, how they were produced, and where they are coming from. I think that's something that we could do anywhere in the world, and especially thinking that Brazil, it's the biggest export of meat in the world, and so let's see. And I think the countries should protect them interesting in the nature as the world interest, global interest.
Christiane, I was very struck by something that I read that you mentioned when you said, you mentioned right a few minutes ago that people in Brazil feel so detached from the forest because it's so far away, and we are here on the big cities, and how much can we do? But I thought it was extremely important to what I read that you said, which was, we are nature, the forest and we are one. Amazonia is on our day-to-day life. Brazilians, you are talking about us, Brazilians, we have to awake, and we have to take care of that. I thought it really shook myself inside because it really is ours. And if we as Brazilians don't protect it, don't do something to protect it, who is going to do it? I think foreigners who come, they want the money. They are there for the profit. But we have Brazil inside us. So we are the ones that have to protect it. And I just hope that so many people can, Brazilians and non-Brazilians too, can see this and watch this.
Ariane, it's one question that I do ask myself for several years is, and we put on the movie, because it's everything is very, very, the way we shoot, the way we edit the movie were very, you know, all the process was very organic. Passion, as Miguel said, we are friends for 30 years. And it was very, there was a lot of fight too, because we, helpfully, we don't agree in every point. So we have to discuss, we have all this, this wildfire in our edition production. And it was very healthy for us. But the question is, when did we forget that the name of our country is the name of a tree? It's a beautiful name, Brazil. What does it mean, you know? Brazil is a tree in extinction, extinguished. So like this one is Ararajuba that I'm using here, extinguished. So, and we are coming to extinction too, you know? We are fighting against a small invisible virus that almost took more than 1 million lives. So, and we are not seeing that another COVIDs are coming because we really divorce ourselves from nature. Krenak, he's a, you know, he's a philosopher, and he's writing his books, and it's a way to awake people too. Davi Copenaua too, beautiful book, you know. In Portuguese, the name is A Queda do Céu, the falling sky. He explains beautifully how does the shamans, all this, the work of the indigenous, mysticism, work to keep nature working in balance. We're taking Rivotril, we are taking all these drugs to forget how to do things, you know, and they're joining with nature to try to be more nature in this moment. So I think we have this day by day homework to connect with everything that's alive, mostly our human beings friends, you know. This moment of empathy, it's very important. You know, I was reading some, you know, Harari's ideas today, because I'm very fond of his writings, and he speaks like a Buddhist. It's funny because he speaks saying about, you know, the wisdom, about the compassion, about the empathy, and this collective work to preserve our civilization and to preserve our planet. So we make to do this work, but we are not alone. You know, the girls are asking if I think we think the Biden votation. Finally, we have. I'm very hopeful, you know, because I think that the Biden, he was vice from Obama, that was making a great work with the climate. Climate reunions, climate policies, and he has done a very, you know, we know that the states are one of the most, you know, the champions of pollution. So they were doing something, you know, against the climate change. And I think there will be a lot of pressure in Brazil. You know, we are being threatened with international retaliation now. We do know this, because the world cannot just watch the burning forest like this. You know, we are having a movement in Brazil. We lost a lot of funds, of financial preservation funds. We have already lost a lot, and I think will be a lot of pressure now. What I'd say to people that wants to work out, Brazilian people, is to be aware in the votations, you know, because now we have a Congress that they cannot avoid the internet pressure. And in this year that we're living now, 2020, we could avoid 3 votations against, you know, all this illegal changing, legalizing the indigenous territory. There's a lot of discussion about this, and these are opening discussions. So I invite people to be aware, because in my Instagram, I've been posting when we are about to have some votation. I do a convocation. See, people, come on, let's pressure, let's do something. This is why we have done with the manifest, and we should do. Brazilians should do this, and even no Brazilian people can do pressure. You know, we have the Greenpeace in Brazil. We have the Observatório do Clima in Brazil. People that can be heard. So we have to make pressure in our congresses. This is a way. We are a tool. We can do something in this way.
I think you said very important things, Christiane, and also Miguel. Talking about elections, we here in Brazil, we watch the news very closely about the election in the United States, but we also have important elections here in our country in this month. So one way for us as Brazilians to be heard and to do something is to read and to know the project of the campaign of the mayor candidates or the representative candidates, and what are their ideas for the climate, what are the ideas for the preservation of our environmental biomes in each city, because this is the way that we can do something. One of the ways, right? Guys, we're running a little bit late, so we have some questions here, but I will ask you one last question that is related to everything that we're talking tonight. This question is from Sara Viana, and she asks us, can you please speak on the importance of listening to indigenous groups when it comes to the preservation of the forest?
Excuse me, if I can talk about indigenous?
Yes, indigenous.
If I can talk about indigenous groups?
The importance of listening to the indigenous groups, to the indigenous leaders, as Ayrton Krenak or Davi Kopenawa, these leaderships that already have answers because they live Florestania, and us as Brazilians that doesn't necessarily live this way, how important it is to listen to them. I recently read Krenak's book, and he said something really interesting. He said that we are preserving some areas, but we are devastating all the other ones. So in the future, we have to compete to live in these small areas that we are preserving. And also, I listened to a podcast with Sonia Guajajara, that is a female leadership here in Brazil. And she said that a person, the interviewer questioned her what the indigenous people are doing. And she said, well, from the beginners, we are maintaining the climate as it is, because if it wasn't for us, for our preservation in our lands, the climate in the world would be really different by now. So I believe the question is about the importance of us to listen to, of us, like as you said in the movies, the concrete child, to listen to the forest childs, the importance to listen to them, what they have to say to us.
You know, Bruno, in this moment, we are in a very passionate campaign to have Raoni elected to the Nobel, you know, the Peace Nobel. This is very important. This is, you know, Raoni has this, he's a leadership from, you know, from the 80s. I don't know if everybody knows that Sting in the 80s have, you know, joined with him a beautiful campaign. So we are talking about 35 years, almost 35 years, you know. And then this 90s, he's a 90 man in this moment. He just lost his wife, and he's still fighting. And now there's a beautiful campaign, and I think everybody could help, send emails to the Nobel board, because this will be unquestionable sign to the world that indigenous lives and work means a very important tool to maintain the health of the planet. It's important that you talk about Sônia Guajajara. We have beautiful female leaders, but she is the first indigenous vote in the last 30 years. We have one that appears in our movie, and then now. Ailton Krenak, he didn't want to go to elections. He chose to write. He's fighting in another field. This is very important because we have to listen to them. They can open our minds. They can open our hearts. It's very difficult for us. We are being, disinformed in the schools. Unfortunately, we are talking about fake news, but this fake education is terrible too. We are being taught wrong concepts, and now we are having in this moment, crucial moment, like a small light, that is this editions, Davi Copenaua, Ailton Krenak, and they're being translated. So this is very important, because I think, there's so many important people that can help us to fight in this moment.
The Indians, they are very important in the preservation of our forests. If you see the Indian territory, they are the most preserved areas, and some of them, if we wouldn't have the Indians occupying these areas, probably they will completely deforested already. And the way we have a statement that's like the forest stand have much value than the forest down. Yeah, and the Indians are the ones that had always understand this by the principle of watching the world. Christiane said, for example, and we got this in the film about the name of Brazil. I feel that the name of Brazil sometimes we can see it like the importance of being a tree as something that was from the beginning of our history. But I think the owners of Brazil, they have always think that this wasn't a tree, but that was a commodity. And as a commodity, has since the beginning, the growth of Brazil has killed thousands, millions of people, of Indians, yeah, in this way up to nowadays, yeah. And so it's the Indians do not only preserve the forest, but they preserve also a culture that can help us a lot. For example, for to see how to establish a forest in the future, and how we can get, for example, the agriculture, a sort of agrofloresta, yeah, a way of watching the agriculture, having in mind the preservation of the forest, because those aren't things that are one against the other. That's just a point of view. There's a way that we took in this history, but I think the climate changings are telling us that we aren't in the right way, yeah, and so they are very important, and that's in this moment of Brazil, it makes lots of sense that they are being so much attacked. Yeah, from the way the country is now watching this nature. So I think this is something that's very back. We are going back in time, yeah, to the past, not watching the future, the present and the future. The Indians, they got this. They have ever had this view of the community, of watching the future. And so I think they are not important to preserve the forest, but they are important also to show us a point of view that we are having so much difficult to understand and feel from the nowadays.
Christiane, one thing also that you said struck me, that we Brazilians should feel very uncomfortable about our own ignorance about what is going on our Brazilian forests and on our Amazon. And to me, it is so true. Can you speak a little bit more about it? Because this is extremely, extremely important.
Yeah, you know, Ariane, this moment is very strange because we feel so ashamed with all the devastation, the wildfires, being, being like, feeling like betraying something, like human being. We do feel, we live in as the Pope Francis says, we live in this small home, this small planet, the blue planet. It's our home. This is why we begin the movie with our planet. This is, an homage, that I make to the creation, from the beginning. The beginning of the beginning, I knew that the movie will start with the planet, to remind us that it's beautiful, it's blue, and it's unique. And we have to take care of our home. And in this moment, I do feel ashamed. Even making the movie, I had already done so many things, but every day I wake up and I say, I feel ashamed to be Brazilian in this moment. Have I done everything that I could already? What should I do? Let's make the live. Let's go to the festival. Let's work. We have to work. So in this moment, what I feel with the pandemic and with the dollar, our money, it's very, very. It lost his worth, our real. So the tourist trips will change in the next months and years. So I've been making, a campaign to people to visit Brazil in this moment. If you can, please, instead of going to Disney, as we cannot go to Orlando in this moment, and we won't be able to because we are having less money than we had. The Brazilian tourist is very happy to know Italy, to know France, to know German, but they don't know Brazil. They don't know Brazil. They don't care about what they don't know. We only care when we do know. So when traveling all these years, I do meet a lot of foreign people, Chinese, European, German, everybody, but not Brazilian people in these remote places that I go. So in this moment, what I'm willing to, that we have, like a moment as we have the vaccine, that we can travel inside the Brazil. And this will change all this behavior. I think so. Because people they are a little bit afraid of Amazonia. They don't know. They're afraid. We have this in the 70s in the dictatorial system, they used to say that the Amazon was a green giant that should be fighted, you know, and win it. This was a legend. This was a terrible tale, you know. And the answer we do in our movie is that please, just once in your life, take a plane and go to Amazon, go to Pantanal, go to Foz do Iguaçu. If we do go there, we will change our behavior, and it will be very much cheaper than to pay in euros and in dollars and in yen. So I think in this moment, a tourist campaign to visit Amazon and Pantanal, it's a way to conclaim people, to convoke people, to call people. I think it's a way.
When we made the film, we use it, as Christiane said, we have this friendship, this very close and nice friendship since 30 years. And it's very rich because it's a friendship that we are really able to talk about everything and to discuss ideas and discuss things. And I think that was very much in the backstage of this film. Yeah, when we made a film that we were thinking about provoking the people. We were the same in a way was happening with us in this backstage of the film to get to this to the result of it. And I usually like to say that this film is not only watching the film. The film is watch the film and after go with your friend or with who else you are and talk, because we are in the world that we need to talk. We have been passing a process in Brazil where it has been for some years, and I think now this perhaps may change. I think it's slowly changing. People couldn't, because of their political positions, radical political positions, talk about the things. And in this meantime, the Brazil it's finishing. Yeah, the forest is burning, problems are going ahead, and we can't talk. So I think the most important thing is to talk and change ideas and point of views, because we all have the right to watch lives as whatever we would like to. And it's important that we can talk about it, because when we talk, we bring new informations. And this film, I think, I hope it provoke this dialogue among peoples also that knows Amazonians, have been there, because I think this touch with the forest, this touch is something so special, and then that changed so much your way of watching life and things. And I think it's people, as Christiane said, for example, there was a hotel that we used we really enjoyed to stay before in preparation and during the shooting, and in Manaus. That was Hotel Tropical. That's the door for. Unfortunately, has been closed shortly. I don't know. I hope it's open again. But I mean, it was a sort of a huge hotel. Yeah, there was a door to the Black River and from the Amazon universe and in Manaus. And in the hotel, mostly the people were foreigners. There was no Brazilians, and it was hundreds of people, and you couldn't listen one person speaking Portuguese. And that's I think that's the result of all this educational process, where we are used to watch much more abroad than inside. Yeah, and even South America, we don't have sometimes we don't have we do not turn back to watch our brothers in South America. So I feel I hope this film it can be an invitation to people to talk more, to make more broad their this desire of curiosity of what is so near us and that we haven't seen, and especially the Amazon and the nature.
Yeah, I truly believe that one of the many messages that this movie, that this film teaches is that we can't just talk about the wildfires and the devastation of the biomes when São Paulo turns into night at 3 p.m. because of the fires, as happened last year, and then everybody was talking about this. The protection of our biomes should be a day-by-day conversation. It should be a way of seeing the world, and should be the breakfast conversation, because if it isn't, as it is not today, we are not doing our jobs as Brazilians to preserve. And if we're not doing this, like Christiane said, we should feel ashamed of not doing the job of protection that we should be doing. And to sum it up, guys, I would like to thank you very much for being here tonight to participate and to share with us the wisdom and the behind the scenes information from the making of Amazonia, the awakening of the forestry. It was such an honor and such a pleasure to host and to talk with you guys, and also to our audience that are seeing and listening to us. So if you guys want to say a final word to our public and to Ariane, feel free. I thank you from the deep of my heart for our conversation. And I'm already changing my travel plans for my vacation. I'm probably going to Manaus and to visit Amazonia, because this is an issue that we should address right now, not tomorrow, not next week, but today.
I would like to really thank you. I don't know, from the bottom of my heart, all three of you, with this incredible discussion. I could go on for 2-3 hours more just talking about this, because really it's a subject that is so important to all of us Brazilians. But I also want to thank to our sponsors, to the case, which we received a grant, Department of Cultural Affairs here in Chicago, and the Partners of the Americas, the organization Umbrella, where also has been wonderful in helping us out, supporting us with this project of MOSTRA Brazilian films, to all my crew behind the scenes, young people that I tell you, I hope I know they have listened to all this message, and they are just unbelievable young people. And I think the world is on their hands once we go. And so we need the young people to understand this problem. Thank you, every one of you. To Alex Miranda, this year is the president of our chapter of Illinois of the Partners of the Americas. And he's also helping with the technical part of this, since it's the first year that we do a virtual MOSTRA. So all of you, from the bottom of my heart, really, thank you so much. We couldn't have had better 2 people to talk to us, or 3 people to talk to us, because I cannot leave Bruno away. Bruno has been fantastic with us, not only with this film, but with so many other films. Thank you so much.
Ariane, thank you very much, to opening this space. We understand that the movie gives all the messages of our heart's message, but it's very, very grateful, when we can see people and hear, your feelings about the movie and spread this message. This is what's the idea, to spread the message. So if it was in any small way useful, we were useful, like being an actress, being an artist, being an activist is like of a sense of life. So this moment for me, it's very, very special. I hope from the bottom of my heart, my green heart, I hope we were able to, put a little thing in the seed of Florestania in this young heart, and maybe the not so young, because we're still here. So we're still in the fight, we're still in the game, and we'll be convoked. So we have to be prepared. We have to be aware. Okay, like good soldiers. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I forgot to thank, I really have been wanting to thank them, and I already forgot twice. I want to thank for my curatorial committee, because it's not easy on our MOSTRA to choose from so many movies, only 10 movies that we usually 10, at most 12 we have shown in our MOSTRAs. And we do a very detailed job in order to choose the movies. And this one, I want to tell you, this one was one that we didn't have any fight. Everybody who saw it said, this has to be in. And I thought, yes. So it was really great. It is a marvelous movie. And also I'm delighted because I know you both are going to speak to MOSTRA, because we always take MOSTRA to Brazil after we do it here. And you are going to be together with Luis and Rudy, which are my collaborators from São Paulo. And they are wonderful too. And I know you're going to have a wonderful time, and also educating our audience over there. Thank you so much. I'm making a lot of propaganda for my friends in Brazil. Go see this movie and see it in MOSTRA. So thank you so much.
I would like also to thank a lot this opportunity to be here, to talk, and to say also that I love Chicago, and it's and I'm very happy to also to speak and to participate to an event that belongs to the city. And also I hope that this talk helps people to think that everything that we got in our world nowadays, we have to think that have a link with environment, and we are globally linked. We must be aware about that. It's not something that we must work together in the world, for the environment. And I think, and I hope this can make this seed grow inside the people, and to meet this audience again in the future. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you all. Yeah.